Hello, Chris Delion here for Hobby Game Dev with another video to try to help more people get into making video games or get into making video games better. What I want to talk about today is the notion of momentum as a game developer. And what momentum is about is the notion that you need to be making games consistently even before you come up with the idea that's really going to, you think, change things or turn things around or be your breakthrough grand idea. A lot of folks paralyze themselves at first trying too much to think about what's the most elaborate, amazing thing they can come up with, what's the most original game they can design in their mind, and then focus on, okay, well that's going to inspire me to learn how to make games. But if that's the first game you try to work on, you're not going to be ready to do it very well. It's going to be full of beginner errors. It's going to be full of learning as you go. It's likely to never be finished. If you want to do the great ideas justice, then you want to have been prepared through a lot of practice before you come up with those ideas, before you try to act on them at least. It's sort of like when an opportunity comes along, what makes an opportunity is that you've prepared for it. So getting momentum is about making games not to try to turn the world around, not to try to change everything, not to try to make a big splash yet as a game developer, but just to start getting experience with running into problems and solving them. Where the experience counts most in game programming, where it's going to make the most difference for you, and I say game programming, game design, all kinds of aspects of game development, is when you've run into the same kind of error enough times in enough different projects and enough different genres that you can begin to figure out and see the patterns of what causes those problems to come up so that you can strategically avoid them happening at all. Or you've encountered the problem so many times and solved it so many times that you become equipped with a pretty sound process for knowing that whenever one of those styles of problems in a particular pattern arises, you can find your way around it. Because you've got a sort of tool belt of options at your disposal that keep you from needing to put your full attention on these little just things that happen during development. By freeing up your mind from worrying about the little details, allows you to think at a higher level, conceptually, in terms of what you want to do with your game and how. Because while early on, a lot of the challenge, a lot of difficulty is, okay, how do I make it do this thing at all? As you get more experience as a game programmer, it becomes more and more like just shaping clay. Just like drawing a picture, where you can look at it, see what you want to make it do next, try that out, and it might still take some time, it'll never be instantaneous, but it'll be much faster to execute on your ideas because you'll have already comfort and confidence in yourself that no matter what comes up, it's going to be problems you've seen before or some variation, and there's going to be solutions at your disposal that are variations of problems you've solved before, and allow you to really focus on a few snags as opposed to every single step of the project being a confusing grind. So you want to practice making games. Where do you start? And of course, this ties in with the code packs I've been releasing recently, not coincidentally. I'm a big believer, and before you work on newer styles of games, working on some more classic styles of games, and in fact, I'm going to say it straight up, cloning things that already exist for the sake of practice. There's people out there who will say, Space Invaders already exists. We don't need another one of those. Or, there's already a game of Breakout. It's fine. Why do we need another one? And the thing is, you're right. The internet doesn't need it. Other people don't need to play that. But you've not implemented yet. And I know I've mentioned this before in another video, but bear with me because it's worth reiterating. Until you've done it, there's a lot of lessons in terms of design, in terms of implementation details that you haven't sorted out yet for yourself. And it's worth you getting on the other side of that barrier of someone who's not yet figured out that style of problem, that scope of problem, into being someone that has. It's going to make a big difference for you, and again, being able to get some momentum, being able to get some practice under your belt, and being able to start something simple enough where you can see the end result as soon as you're done, including actually before you even start, you can see the end target in a really clear way. And what that does is it frees you up from being able to make excuses about, well, that's what I meant, or like, if you're just designing an original project, and even if it's a simple one, it's really easy to write it off and rationalize it, right? To make excuses like, that was the point, that's what I was going for. It's a satire, or whatever the excuse might be, as opposed to if you're really trying to focus on, I needed to do that, that's my target, and I'm not satisfied until I figure that out, you're going to have to learn a lot more about implementation in the process. Because yes, it's been done before, but you know what else? Every math problem you've ever solved, we already knew the answer to. The world didn't need you to solve it. Every essay you've written in school about Catcher in the Rye, or about The Hobbit, or about whatever, yes, other people have probably written similar, in fact, far superior essays on the same subject. But the point wasn't for you to do it for everyone else. The point was for you to do it for yourself. And the other nice thing about this is that you're going to gradually, it's a great way to scaffold yourself. It's training wheels. Where early on you're doing a lot of cloning, and again, this isn't trying to make a name for yourself, it's not trying to make money or anything, it's just to learn how to solve these basic design and development and implementation of resource challenges. But that what you're going to gradually find is that as you're working on these projects, it becomes more and more natural to deviate from the formula or from the target in a justifiable way based on your experience working with actual real-time interactive games and things you've implemented before and times you've spent studying them and playing them finely and in detail and taking notes. It's going to become more and more natural for you to deviate from your target and personalize it. Take your own take on a classic style of game, and it takes it in new directions. It really begins to make it your own thing, even though it has a similar foundation of a recognizable sort of format that people can look at it and see immediately what they got to do. They're going to understand the conventions in place. They're going to know the basic objectives, but then you get a lot more freedom in terms of your level design or in terms of the scenarios that you set up of which enemies show up when or which power-ups are available. You can invent new power-ups. You can write new code for new weapons, for new styles of characters, and those are things that are much easier to do if you're building off a classical foundation of one of the relatively few styles of games that kind of makes sense from the simple domain. Let me clarify what I mean by that. There are a ton of possibilities of what a computer can do. Simply shocking number, most of which are nonsense. Because think about this, right? I mean, there's an incredible amount of things that notes could do, but most pop music sounds the same, and a lot of classical music, depending who you talk to, has very recognizable patterns to it as well. It's not like every combination of sounds is music to people. And in the same way, every combination of programming, let alone even game mechanics and gameplay elements, doesn't really make sense as a video game. There have been 30, 40 years now of people creating hundreds upon hundreds of games commercially in many cases, betting their houses on it, betting their businesses on it, failing miserably. For us to have found the pattern of, there's some genres that stick out of like, here's what people like and want. Here's what people recognize. I wrote another entry recently for Hobby Game Dev, sort of drawing the example there as to why the conventions and genres are useful. It's the same reason why to a baker, it's useful for them to know what a chocolate cake is supposed to be like. Because people know what chocolate is. They can have a craving for it, and when they see it, they know what to expect. They can tell if it's good or bad, version of what it's trying to be, as opposed to any of the other random possible combinations of flavorings that you could try to make the focal point of a baked good. In the case of a game, if you're making something that's clearly a classic puzzle game, clearly a classic shooter, we see a lot of classic platformers from beginners. I'll even say that those are maybe a little ambitious. If it's really your first programming interactive real-time game project, it's something that you're going to learn a lot more from trying to make something that you can get feedback on because people understand it. And so like I say, it's going to give you a lot of momentum going forward, as opposed to one of the dangers if you try to start off making highly innovative things, odds are really good it's going to fall into that waste heap of many other possible combinations, like I say, of sounds or of ingredients that don't make something anybody understands. But if you make something that people know they're going to appreciate and know they're going to play, know how it's supposed to feel, and they see it and they see that you've done it, that helps get you excited, helps get you feedback, that helps you realize you're making something people are enjoying playing. And you can begin to then pull from your own source code, your own previous examples, start smashing those together, start expanding off of those, and starting building your own ideas, not out of just, empty blank space. We're really building off foundations, clear design foundations of projects that have worked before. So you've got to get momentum, and that means starting to make games well before you have the perfect idea, so that when the perfect idea does hit you, you're ready to do it justice, that it's not rife and full of errors. This is Chris Stelion for Hobby Game Dev. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it really would mean a lot to me if you do. Just log in to Gmail and sign in with a YouTube thing or subscribe or whatnot. But anyway, makes me happy, helps keep me motivated for making more videos and trying to continue to improve the quality of my presentation and lighting and sounds and all the things I think you've picked up on. I've been really trying. So again, it's Chris Stelion for Hobby Game Dev. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you more soon. Bye-bye.